The decline of India, as described in the Bhagavat Purana. During the time of the Mahabharat, and certainly before, the area we now call Greater India was known as Bharatvarsha. During that time, Bharat was the cultural, political, religious and military capital of the world. In fact, sometimes the ancient scriptures would use Bharat to refer to the entire planet. However, that was then. Since the beginning of Kali-yuga, India went into huge decline. This video summarises what the 12th canto of the Bhagavat Purana says about that. First, some background. After the Mahabharat war, the noble Yudhisthira ruled the civilized world from Hastinapur and Indraprastha. But when Lord Krishna left this world around 3100 BCE, Yudhisthira stepped down and handed the throne to Maharaj Parikshit. The evil Kali entered Parikshit's kingdom. The king did his best to limit Kali's influence, but he was cursed to be bitten by the snakebird Takshaka. Parikshit's son Janmejay then took over, who, like his father, tried his best to maintain the dharmic culture. His learned and pious son Shantanika handed the throne to his son Sahasranika. Then came Asvekadatta, followed by Adishma Krishna. During Nishakshu's reign that followed, the Ganges flooded Hastinapur for the first time, so he moved the capital to Kaushambi. Kali was ready to increase his power, focusing much of his energy and malice on Bharat because it represented the greatest threat to his agenda, the despiritualization of the human race. Chapter 2 of the Bhagavatam's 12th canto describes some of the symptoms of Kali-yuga. Religion, truthfulness, mercy, duration of life and strength will all diminish day by day. Wealth alone will be considered as a sign of proper behaviour. Law and justice only applied on the basis of one's power. A man will be accepted as a Brahmin just by wearing a thread. Spiritual position as attained merely according to external symbols. Intelligence judged by who can juggle words. People judged as unholy if they don't have money. Generations of Vedic kings followed Nishakshu, but gradually as time went by, Kali's influence increased and Bharat declined in all respects. Other empires began to rise in power and significance. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza was built somewhere between 2600 and 2500 BCE. Meanwhile, over hundreds of years, more Vedic kings came and went. At this point, we reached the list of kings in the 12th canto. That chapter has been entitled The Degraded Dynasties of Kali-yuga. The consistency between this chapter and the historical leaders is astounding, and when their names notably differ, it can often be attributed to an alias or someone from an adjacent kingdom. Kings were responsible to set the mood and values of the country, to respect the Brahmanas and make wise decisions. In the eyes of the Puranas, when the leaders become degraded, that is the most telling sign of a region's decline. For the most part, the succession of leading monarchs was hereditary. By around 1900 BCE, unity across Bharat was being lost. Nripajaya's son will be Urva. His son will be Tigmagnan. His son will be Brihadrath. Brihadrath established Magda at the border of Cheni kingdom. That was around 1700 BCE. Brihadrath's dynasty followed. Meanwhile, gradually, India continued to further decline due to climate change, migration, and changing trade routes. Now we reach the opening text of the first chapter of the 12th canto. The last of the Brihadrath dynasty will be Ripunjana, or Paranjana, who was killed by a minister named Punika, or Sunaka. Punika placed his son Prajot on the throne and founded the Prajot dynasty. The succession went on. Brahminical standards were in huge decline, to the point that religious reformers gained followers. By around 500 BCE, Bharat was no longer a unified empire with as much global influence. but rather consisted of several powerful regional kingdoms known as Mahajanapadas. Other world empires rose, like the Yavanas, Greeks. More generations of Projota leaders followed. From this point on, all kings are regarded as low class. Mahanandi's son from the womb of a low-class woman was Nanda. He was very wealthy but caused havoc. The Nanda Empire had an army so large that Alexander the Great's troops mutinied when faced with the prospect of fighting it. Nanda's sons, headed by Somalia, will rule for 100 years. A certain Brahmin, Chanakya Pandit, will betray the trust of King Nanda. Chanakya Pandit would enthrone Chandragupta Maurya. That was around 320 BCE. The Maurya kings will then rule the earth for 130 years. These Shunga kings will also rule. Around 100 BCE, India was still considered one of the largest and most influential empires on the continent. However, by then, smaller kingdoms were gaining power in different parts of the region. Meanwhile, the Roman Empire rose. More Shunga kings. Vasudeva, a minister of the Kanya family, will murder the lusty debauchee Devabhut. That followed by the Kanva dynasty, who have very few good qualities. The son of Vasudeva will be Bhumitra, then Narayan, and Sushama. Sushama will be murdered by his own servant, Bali, a low-class person of the Andhra race, otherwise known as the Satavahanas. Bali's brother Krishna will then rule. The Bhagavad Purana links a very famous spiritual personality with one of the kings of the Satavahan dynasty. After this dynasty, morality will further decline, although by that time it will still have about 35% of the entire world's GDP. Then Chakora and the 8 Bahus. Then Shivasvati, a great subduer of enemies. His descendants rule. Then will follow 7 kings of the Abhira race from the city of Avabriti. Historically, the Abhira kingdom began in the west of what became the Gupta Empire. Many regard the Gupta Empire as an extension of the Abhira. After which, India and adjacent regions break down into smaller, separate kingdoms. Sengadabis. 16 kings of the Kankas will be known for their excessive greed. More low-class kingdoms in various places. Bharat will continue decline compared to its former glory, yet it will still have about 33% of the world's GDP. When all the Mauryas die off, there will appear in the city of Kilikala another dynasty of kings, who will rule for 106 years. They will be followed by their sons, the Balikas, first Islamic invasion, and after them Pushpamitra. Then his son Durmitra. 2 Andhras, Kushalas, and also kings of Vidura and Nishada provinces will rule in separate kingdoms. We reach the 12th century. There will come a king, Vishvaspuruji, who will turn all civilized classes into low class. Note that this may not be a specific king, but rather a representative of abrupt and violent removal of true faith. Such leaders will make everyone godless and use his power to completely destroy and disrupt the Kshatriya order. At that time, Brahmanas in many provinces will forget all their regulatory principles, and many members of the royal order will become low class. The lands along the Sindhu River and beyond will be ruled by Sudras, fallen Brahmanas, and meat-eaters. They would have given up Vedic culture and lost all spiritual strength. There will be many such uncivilized kings, and they will be uncharitable, have fierce tempers, irreligious, and full of falsity. Barbarian leaders will devour their citizens, murdering innocent women, children, cows, and brahmanas. The citizens will imitate their characters, harassed by their leaders and by each other. They will all suffer ruination. That is how the first chapter of the 12th canto ends. From that point, India, or Bharat's decline, was rapid, because it was ruled by abusive foreign powers. From 1290, the Khalji Sultanate dynasty ruled from Delhi, and around 1320 that was displaced by the Shaibani sultans of Turco-Mongol origin. Then from 1526 the Mughals ruled India. India was again divided into many separate kingdoms. Their colonization made the British colonization possible. Over the years, India has certainly undergone many challenges, and challenges remain. Yet even today, people all over the world have great interest and respect for Indian spirituality and heritage. But understanding the history according to the Puranas will help deal with doubts. Thanks for watching.